everybody, and welcome to the Book of Blood review. It's the Warhipster deep dive into the Legions of Khorne in the new Codex Chaos Demons book, sent to me early by Games Workshop to review for all of you, and I'm just so very excited and thankful for that. So, I've said it before, I'll say it again, thanks Games Workshop, you've made my year. If you're looking to get pumped up, get angry, claim some skulls, and let some blood in the name of the blood god, then this is the video for you. And if you're as excited about Khorne as I am, why not like and subscribe to the channel so you can see even more videos just like this one, like all of the painting videos we've done so far on Khorne Daemons. So sit forward, get angry, and get ready to drown the galaxy in blood as we take a look at the Book of Blood.
Out through brazen gates they march, across endless fields of slaughter. Searing brass they bear, and coiling fire, and the hatred that beats in every living heart. Cloven hooves cracked blackened skulls underfoot as they stalk forth beneath a rain of boiling blood, and mountains of bodies they raise for the Lord of Battles.
Okay, so first up, as with all the gods, you can still make your greater demons exalted greater demons, only now you have a choice of 3 options here rather than 6, and each costs points, not CP, which is a really good and consistent change with the other changes we've seen in other codexes. You can't exalt a named Bloodthirster such as Scarbrand, and you can't use the same exalted ability more than once, nor can you give a Bloodthirster more than one exalted trait. Khorne easily has the best named ones, and they are as follows. Indomitable Onslaught for 40 points. This makes it so your Bloodthirster can't lose more than 8 wounds of phase, which is familiar to Khorne fans already. Master of the Blood Tide for 20 points. This gets you +1 strength and attacks if you charged, were charged, or heroically intervened something, which is pretty nice, especially on the new Bloodthirsters. Lastly, you have Rage Unchained for 35 points, which renders your Bloodthirster as counting as double the amount of wounds remaining when figuring out which profile to use. All of these are good. Honestly, Bloodthirsters are scary good now, and there is a space for all 3 of these in your army list, and you'll see why very shortly. My favourite is probably Rage Unchained, but +1 attack on a Bloodthirster for 20 points is very, very, very enticing. You get a single page of stratagems, and there is some beauties in here, but the best one, without a doubt, is Glorious Decapitation. For 2 CP, use this stratagem when an enemy character model is destroyed by a melee attack made by a Legiones Daemonica Khorne character from your army. Until the end of the battle, that Khorne character model has the following ability: Slayer of Champions, which is an aura, and while a friendly Legiones Daemonica Khorne unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, an unmodified wound roll of 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target, in addition to any normal damage. A unit can only suffer a maximum of 6 mortal wounds per phase as a result of this ability. You can only use this stratagem once. Banner of Blood is here, but is different. You don't spend it pre-game, you spend it in-game for 1 CP on an icon, and you can roll 3d6 for your charge. However, now you discard the lowest result rather than using all 3 values. It's worse, but better, as it's optional now rather than feeling like an auto-take to make it into combat. And with the manifestation rules we discussed in the other Demons Codex video, maybe 3d6 charges are a thing of the past, and definitely no longer a must-have, especially if you're deep striking 3 inches away. There's no fight twice in here, there's no re-rollable charges in here either, which is what it is. What you do get is some movement shenanigans with Frenetic Bloodlust, a super deny the witch stratagem with contempt for sorcery, and a few mortal wound stratagems here and there. In addition to a page of stratagems, you get a page of 6 warlord traits and 6 relics. If a herald is your warlord, he can only select from the first 3, whereas a bloodthirster has all 6 to choose from. My personal highlight for Warlord traits is Glory of Battle. Add 1 to this Warlord's attacks characteristic. While this Warlord is within 3 inches of 6 or more enemy models, add 1 to this Warlord's attacks characteristic. Whilst this Warlord is within 3 inches of 11 or more enemy models, add 1 to this Warlord's attacks characteristic. That's insane. Especially on the new Bloodthirsters. As for relics, again you have some armor, some weapons and some trinkets. A particular highlight, and in my opinion an auto take here, is the Crimson Crown. At the end of each battle round, if the bearer destroyed any enemy models during that battle round, you can retain up to 2 unspent Warp Storm points. Retaining those Warp Storm points is particularly useful as it makes it much easier to consistently do those more powerful Warp Storm powers, albeit with the caveat you have to destroy models during the battle round. It is models though, not units. If your Bloodthirster with the Crimson Crown just kills 1 Space Marine, which is very likely, you'll still be able to retain 2 unspent Warp Storm points. And you won't really do this until turn 2 anyway, so you know, it's really good. Alright, datasheets time, baby! Scarbrand is nuts. He has weapon skill 2+, strength 8, toughness 8, wounds 22, 8 attacks, leadership 9, and a demon save of 4+4+. Not only that, but he gains attacks as he gets hurt in spite of his movement and weapon skill decreasing. He has a flamer weapon in his Bellow of Endless Fury, which is, you know, not what we're here for. We are here for, of course,
slaughter and carnage.
Excuse me. 2 profiles. Sweeping Blow, which is strength user -2, damage 2, and you make 2 hit rolls instead of 1 for each attack. So, you know, 16 attacks, or 20 if he's really hurt. Mighty Strike, which is strength ×2, -4, d3 + 3 damage, and invulnerable saves cannot be made against this. It's like Be'lakor, but better. His weapons are nuts, but his abilities are great too. He cannot be targeted or affected by psychic powers, no ifs, ands, or buts. And he still gives out his 1 attack for everyone within 6 inches, including himself. Morale tests are automatically passed for everyone within 6 inches, and if you want to fall back, you have to roll under the unit's leadership characteristic on 3d6 to do so, and all this applies to friend and foe. So yeah, Scarbrand is nuts. All for the low cost of 330 points. Bargain. Bloodthirsters are better as mentioned. They now have 20 wounds, strength and toughness 8, and 8 attacks, and a 4+4+ save, again making them way more survivable than before with their 5+ invulnerable save. But they lose attacks as they get hurt, unlike Scarbrand, though they do still hit on 2s, so, you know, swings and roundabouts. They come stock with a great Axe of Khorne, and you don't have to pay for different weapons, which is great. You can just swap them out. The Great Axe, though, is just really, really good, although the Blood Flail has its appeal, being a ranged weapon that is strength ×2, -4, 3d3 damage, but the damage spills over onto other models. It's not lost on one model. That's cool. That Mighty Axe, though. Oof! Bloodthirsters help friendly Khorne core units reroll 1s to hit within 6 inches, and they have a chance to do mortal wounds in addition to an enemy unit within engagement range at the end of the fight phase, so be wary of them. Overall, huge improvements to the Bloodthirsters. You'll not leave at home without at least 1, maybe 2, possibly 3. That's the most you could take. They're pricey at 310 points, plus exalted upgrades, but it's points well spent. Scarbrand plus 2 of these would be running you at about 1000 points, but my goodness me, are you getting some serious power here. All of the Heralds of Khorne, so Skulltaker, the Bloodmaster, Skullmaster, and Renmaster on Bloodthrone, have an aura of reroll 1s to hit, so basically the Bloodthirster is the captain, the Heralds are the lieutenants. Skullmaster Bloodmaster, and Renmaster also additionally have an ability to select a friendly Bloodletter's core unit within 6 inches or 9 inches on the Blood Throne, and that friendly unit automatically wounds the enemy on a hit roll of a 6. Skulltaker doesn't do this, but Skulltaker is different. Skulltaker wants to kill characters, and he can reroll his own hits and wound rolls against characters. Every character he does kill increases the range of his auras by 3 inches to a maximum of 12 inches. He has 6 attacks at strength 6, and his weapon, the Slayer Sword, is -3, damage 3, and invulnerable saves cannot be made against the Slayer Sword. Yeah, it's good. In addition to his reroll 1s to wound aura, he can pick a friendly Bloodletter's core unit within 6 inches, and they can add 1 to hit rolls. The way I see it is you definitely want a Bloodthirster and you want Skulltaker, because Skulltaker as a herald, you won't take up a slot if you have a Bloodthirster. Huzzah! Otherwise, the other 3 are much of a muchness. It just depends on flavour for you. Throne or Juggernaut or Footslogger. The choice is yours. Karanak is another excellent choice at 100 points. He can deny 2 psychic powers as if he was a psyker, and he buffs up friendly Hounds core units with reroll 1s to wound, unless it's against psykers, and then it's a full reroll. Karanak also picks an enemy character, and any successful wounds Karanak makes against that character also do 2 mortal wounds in addition, so you know, dinner time Fido. Now we move on past the characters to the meat and potatoes of the army. You have 2 Bloodletter's core units to choose from, although one of them is troops. You have Bloodletters and Blood Crushers. Bloodletters, as mentioned before, now have a respectable stat line of 6 inches to move, weapon skill 3+, strength 5, toughness 4, wounds 1, 2 attacks with 3 on the champion, a leadership of 6 and 7 on the champion, and a demon save of 5+, 4+. So they're tougher than they were, and they have more attacks than before, baked in. However, you can only take them in units of 10 now, which does mean for anyone out there who has a Bloodletter bomb, you're the main part of a battalion away from having a Khorne Daemons army, so that's nice. The icon helps you ignore modifiers, and the instrument adds 1 to your leadership characteristic. And they're free, so you might as well use them. 130 points is painful for 10 toughness 4, 1 wound models. That having a 4+ at range is good, but is fairly standard in the game these days with the amount of AP around, etc. Not that AP matters for demons, it's just 4+ is 4+. They do, however, no longer do 2 damage on 6s to wound. They just have that all the time, which is great. And their swords are still -3. Strength 5 base as well does mean they don't lose killing power if they didn't charge. Same goes for the extra attack, always now, not just on the charge, which is nice. Blood Crushers are great now. They are also Bloodletter's core as mentioned, and they gained a wound, which is good. 2 inches extra movement, and their toughness went to 5. Their demon saves are 4+, 4+, and they gained a malefic weapon. The bladed horn now makes 4 additional attacks, so an extra 1 there, and if they charge, the weapon is strength +2, making it strength 7. At 45 points a model, this is very, very, very good. They have a great mortal wound stratagem against vehicles that can do a crap ton of mortal wounds if you roll a lot of 6s. They're tough and fast and very killy. What is not to like? Finally, we have the Hounds, Skull Cannon, and Skull Altar. Hounds are amazing now. 12-inch move, weapon skill 3+, strength 5, toughness 4, wounds 2, 3 attacks, leadership 7, and a demon save of 5+, 4+. At 95 points for 5, they're cheap and fast with the ability to deny as if they were a psyker, and if you were charged, or made a heroic intervention, their gore-drenched fangs are damaged too. The Skull Cannon sees a boost in its fortunes at 100 points for a heavy D3 +3 shots at strength 8 -2 damage 2 blast weapon, which ignores cover at 48-inch range. It's useful for camping a backfield objective, and with points now being a premium on the Bloodletters, committing one of these to your home field objective is a good idea. 1 is probably recommended for every Khorne Daemons army, 2 might be too many, 3 would be cool but probably silly. The Skull Altar does a bunch of stuff, but its highlight is the action. Ritual Slaughter generates Warp Storm points if units within 12 inches of it complete a charge or are in engagement range of any enemy units. You roll a dice, and a 4+, you gain Warp Storm points. It's useful, but not an auto take. So there you have the Book of Blood. With all of that in mind, I've got a list I'm planning, which is as follows. It's a single battalion detachment with a Bloodthirster, Skulltaker, and Karanak. In the no slot, we have Bloodmaster, so we can take our 4 characters in our 1 battalion. We have 5 units of Bloodletters, we have 3 units of 5 Fleshhounds, and we have a unit of 6 Blood Crushers and a unit of 3 Blood Crushers coming in at 1,990 points. It's fun, it's fast, and it'll hit like a truck, whilst also supplying the variation and numbers you need. Now, there's an argument to be made that taking Skarbrand instead is the better choice, but the Bloodthirster can fly, making him much faster and easier to move around. Skarbrand works if you can deep strike him in 6 inches away near a locus, otherwise he's walking, which isn't the end of the world with an 8-inch move, but the Bloodthirster is just a bit quicker. He can also be my warlord and get an absolute dump truck full of attacks, which is just cool. Additionally, a unit of Fleshhounds could be dropped in favour of a Skull Cannon, but the idea here is that the Fleshhounds and the 3 Blood Crushers move up quickly with the Bloodthirster, and then the Bloodletters and Heralds all appear in the middle of the board as if by magic. Well, not magic, but, you know, that would be bad. Slaughter is unleashed, though. Just for fun, you could do a Bloodthirster heavy list that looks like this. It's a Bloodthirster, Skarbrand, 3 units of Bloodletters, and 2 units of 6 Blood Crushers. It doesn't have the bodies you'll need for a Demon's army, but by heck it'll pump out the damage, although every unit loss will be very painful indeed. Swapping out a Bloodthirster or even both units of Blood Crushers for Be'lakor is a viable option, as he can fit in a Supreme Command slot, though again you are very much relying on the big boys doing all the work, and in today's game it's easier to kill them than ever before. It's more difficult now with this book, but killing stuff is generally not a problem for a lot of armies, you know? The demon save does make it more difficult to kill these guys, and Dark Invigoration and various other abilities help keep your demons alive. You have a lot at your disposal, but it's still not resilient enough to base your entire strategy around the monsters and nothing else. They're good, very, very good, very, very, very good, and they're even better backed up by their buffed up mates in the lesser demonic ranks. Either way, Khorne armies are set for a big boost with this book. They're tougher, they're probably the stabbiest, and have high amounts of -3 AP all across the board, making them excellent for combating Armour of Contempt in the Space Marine and Power Armoured ranks of the Imperium and Chaos. There aren't many malefic weapons here though, so it will be a factor, but by gaining toughness on the troops, your Bloodletters have a much better chance of shrugging off some hits in combat with your average intercessor now, rather than being dominated by as little as a strength 4 opponents. All in all, Khorne, I believe, are in the ascendancy with this book and have gained the most, both in terms of power and viability. If you're looking for a demon's army, these are my recommended choice, based on the game in general as it stands, and just how much they've improved in this book. Blood for the Blood God, Skulls for the Skull Throne, etc, etc, etc. So there you have it, folks. The Book of Blood is all done and dusted. I hope you enjoyed this one and are looking forward to the next one. For those of you who dabble in the magical arts, the Book of Change is coming up next. That's right, Tzeentch Demons is coming out very, very soon. But until then, I will see you next time. Happy wargaming. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you want to support me further like these legends and bosses on the screen before you, you can do so. Head to patreon.com/warhipster or head to ko-fi.com/warhipster. Alternatively, you can now become a YouTube channel member by heading to the channel page and clicking on the join button just here, exactly like these awesome folks have done. And if you just want to shoot me a little thanks just because you really love this video, you can click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching. and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.